Welcome, beautiful damsels. When you wrestle with pigs, you both get dirty, but the pig enjoys it. Now imagine this. Instead of jumping into the mud, you build a steel fortress and watch the chaos unfold from a throne. That's the essence of how Sigma females handle toxic people. Did you know that nearly 90% of conflicts in relationships stem from unresolved power dynamics? Yet, Sigma females flip the entire game on its head by refusing to play anyone's game but their own. They don't argue, beg, or break down. They strategize, dominate, and if necessary, disappear without a trace, like a ghost at a party who's way too good for small talk. But don't mistake their quiet strength for weakness. Sigma females have mastered the art of disarming manipulators with tactics so shocking and effective, they might as well come with a disclaimer. Used responsibly may cause side effects for toxic individuals. Curious how they do it? Buckle up, because this isn't just self-help, it's a masterclass in power. Number 1. Turning passive aggression into direct domination. Sigma. Females have no patience for passive aggression. Instead of ignoring it or playing along, they confront it head-on in a way that's so precise it feels like a tactical takedown. When someone tosses out a backhanded compliment or a subtle jab, a Sigma female doesn't react emotionally or defensively. She calls it out for what it is, directly and unapologetically. This approach doesn't just catch toxic people off guard, it completely strips them of their power. Passive-aggressive behavior thrives on ambiguity. It relies on the assumption that the target will either feel too awkward to address it or second-guess their own interpretation. But Sigma females don't leave room for that kind of doubt. They've mastered the art of addressing the hidden venom in a statement while remaining calm, composed, and brutally honest. A snide comment like, "Wow, you're really bold for wearing that," is met with something as simple as, "Bold? What do you mean by that?" Delivered with an unshakable confidence that forces the aggressor to either explain themselves or backpedal. What makes this so effective is that Sigma females don't engage in unnecessary drama. They're not looking to escalate or argue, they're simply refusing to be a passive target. Their confidence is disarming, and their ability to call out toxic behavior without losing composure leaves the aggressor scrambling. Suddenly, the passive-aggressive remarks lose their sting because they're exposed for what they are: weak attempts at manipulation. This ability to directly dismantle passive aggression without becoming emotional is what makes Sigma females so untouchable. They refuse to let anyone hide behind subtlety, flipping the script and ensuring that toxic people can no longer operate in the shadows. They bring everything into the light, and in the light, toxic behavior doesn't stand a chance. Number 2, using charisma as a strategic tool. Sigma females know that charm isn't just a personality trait, it's a weapon, and they wield it with precision. When dealing with toxic individuals, they strategically use their charisma to lull them into a false sense of security. A well-timed smile, a genuine-sounding compliment, or a disarming laugh can make even the most manipulative person lower their guard. But here's the twist. It's all part of the plan. Toxic people often rely on being underestimated or misunderstood to manipulate others. They thrive on the idea that they're pulling strings behind the scenes while their target is oblivious. Sigma females, however, flip this dynamic by playing along just enough to let the toxic individual believe they're in control. They make the aggressor feel comfortable, even appreciated, while quietly observing their patterns and weaknesses. This charm offensive isn't about people-pleasing or avoiding conflict, it's about gathering intelligence. Sigma females use this time to study the toxic person's behavior, motivations, and vulnerabilities, all while keeping their own intentions concealed. It's like playing chess, with every move calculated to set up a decisive checkmate. And when the moment comes to dismantle the manipulator's tactics, the Sigma female does so with a finesse that leaves no room for retaliation. Because they've been charmed into complacency, toxic individuals don't even see it coming. Their manipulations are exposed, their games neutralized, and they're left scrambling to regain control. What makes this approach so powerful is that Number 3, making toxicity irrelevant by redirecting focus. Sigma females have an uncanny ability to make toxicity irrelevant by refusing to give it power. When confronted with manipulative behavior, petty drama, or emotional chaos, they don't engage or feed into it. Instead, they redirect their energy and focus to their own goals, making the toxic person's antics seem insignificant in comparison. Toxic people thrive on attention. They need reactions to fuel their behavior. But a Sigma female doesn't waste time arguing, defending herself, or getting drawn into endless cycles of drama. She knows that engaging only validates the manipulator's actions. By simply not participating, she denies them the satisfaction they crave and shifts the entire dynamic. Instead of addressing the toxicity directly, Sigma females reframe the situation in a way that prioritizes their own aspirations and priorities. If someone tries to provoke them, they don't retaliate. They pivot the conversation or action toward something productive and meaningful. For instance, if a colleague tries to undermine them at work, a Sigma female won't dwell on the slight. She'll channel that energy into outperforming them, making their attempts to stir trouble seem laughably small in comparison. This approach doesn't mean they ignore problems, it means they choose not to play games they can't win. By focusing on what truly matters, they deprive toxic people of the control they seek and create an environment where manipulation simply can't survive. What's more, this refusal to engage sends a powerful message. The Sigma female's time and energy are too valuable to waste on pettiness. It's not just a strategy, it's a declaration of self-worth. And in a world where toxic people thrive on chaos, nothing is more disarming than someone who renders their drama completely irrelevant. Number 4. Making walking away look like the ultimate victory. For a Sigma female, walking away isn't a retreat, it's a declaration of power. While society often glorifies sticking it out in tough situations, Sigma females understand that staying in a toxic environment isn't strength. It's self-sabotage. They have no interest in proving a point to someone who isn't worth their energy. Instead, they make the bold decision to leave, reclaiming their peace and autonomy while leaving toxic people to deal with the wreckage they created. The beauty of this move lies in its finality. Toxic people thrive on control and attention, and by walking away, the Sigma female denies them both. She doesn't argue, explain, or negotiate. She simply removes herself from the equation, making it clear that her time and well-being are non-negotiable. It's not about winning the battle. It's about leaving the war entirely, and that's a victory toxic individuals can never comprehend. This isn't an emotional exit fueled by anger or frustration. It's a calculated decision that speaks volumes without needing words. The act of walking away says, "You are no longer a factor in my life," which is the ultimate blow to someone who thrives on being significant. Toxic people are left to stew in the chaos they created, suddenly aware of just how powerless they are without someone to manipulate. What makes this approach so effective is that it flips the traditional narrative. Walking away is often seen as defeat, but Sigma females redefine it as the ultimate act of self-respect. They don't just leave the situation, they leave on their own terms, with their dignity intact and their focus squarely on building a life free of toxicity. It's not just a move, it's a masterstroke. Number 5. Disarming narcissists with subtle humor. Sigma females have a secret weapon that narcissists never see coming: subtle, razor-sharp humor. Instead of directly confronting a narcissist's need for control or validation, they use wit to undermine the manipulative behavior without ever raising their voice or breaking a sweat. This tactic is disarming because narcissists thrive on taking themselves seriously. They need to be the center of attention, admired, and feared. When a Sigma female deflates their grandiosity with a clever, humorous remark, it throws them off balance in the most satisfying way. This humor isn't cruel or overtly confrontational. It's subtle enough to fly under the radar, but sharp enough to expose the ridiculousness of the narcissist's behavior. For example, when a narcissist brags about their accomplishments or tries to one-up everyone in the room, a Sigma female might respond with a lighthearted, "Wow, you must be exhausted carrying all that greatness around. How do you manage?" Delivered with a calm smile, the statement lands like a soft jab that leaves the narcissist unsure whether they've been praised or called out. What makes this approach so effective is that it bypasses direct conflict. Narcissists are prepared for arguments and thrive on emotional reactions, but they're completely unequipped to handle humor that subtly exposes their flaws. It's like a mirror being held up to their behavior, but instead of shattering it in rage, they're left laughing, albeit awkwardly, without a clear sense of how to regain control. This tactic also preserves the Sigma female's energy. She doesn't waste time in futile power struggles. She neutralizes the situation with a single, well-placed quip. By refusing to take the narcissist as seriously as they take themselves, she reclaims control of the interaction, leaving the narcissist disoriented, powerless, and, ironically, quietly mocked. Number 6. Leveraging their mystery as an intimidation tactic. Sigma females know the power of being unreadable. Their mysterious nature isn't just a personality trait, it's a carefully cultivated shield against toxic individuals. While most people wear their emotions and intentions on their sleeves, Sigma females keep theirs concealed, creating an aura of intrigue that toxic people find both frustrating and intimidating. Manipulators and narcissists thrive on predictability. They exploit patterns and behaviors to gain control. But with Sigma females, there are no obvious patterns to exploit. They don't overshare, react impulsively, or let their emotions dictate their actions. This leaves toxic people guessing, often overthinking every interaction in an attempt to figure out what the Sigma female is planning or even thinking. This sense of mystery creates a constant power imbalance in favor of the Sigma female. Toxic individuals who rely on dominating and controlling others find themselves at a disadvantage when they can't read their target. A Sigma female might respond to manipulation attempts with calm detachment one day and with a witty, cutting remark the next. Her unpredictability makes it impossible for toxic people to establish a foothold in her life. What's more, this enigmatic approach isn't about being intentionally secretive or distant. It's about mastering the art of selective sharing. Sigma females reveal only what is necessary, often leaving others intrigued and off guard. They know the value of keeping people guessing, not to play games, but to protect their peace and maintain control. This air of mystery is not just disarming, it's intimidating. Toxic people often find themselves retreating, unsure how to navigate the uncertainty a Sigma female creates. And that's exactly how she likes it. In control, unbothered, and impossible to manipulate. Her silence speaks louder than words, and her unpredictability ensures no one can play games at her expense. Number 7. Treating toxicity as a puzzle to solve, not a threat. Sigma females approach toxicity like a mental chessboard, viewing each manipulative move as a puzzle to solve rather than a threat to fear. They refuse to be overwhelmed by emotional manipulation or power plays, choosing instead to detach and analyze the situation with calm, clinical precision. For them, toxic behavior isn't something to take personally. It's a problem to be deconstructed, neutralized, and rendered ineffective. When a toxic person tries to bait them, a Sigma female doesn't react impulsively. She observes. Every comment, gesture, or tactic is noted and dissected like a piece in a larger game. Is the person fishing for sympathy, seeking validation, testing boundaries? Sigma females answer these questions quietly, unraveling the toxic person's motivations layer by layer until they see the bigger picture. Once the pattern becomes clear, the Sigma female begins to dismantle it. If a manipulator thrives on guilt trips, she flips the narrative and refuses to feel responsible for their emotional traps. If they rely on gaslighting, she counters with unshakable facts, leaving no room for doubt. Her responses are precise and deliberate, like a player positioning pieces for a decisive checkmate. This approach is so effective because it completely disarms the toxic person. They're used to provoking emotional reactions or throwing people off balance. But Sigma females don't give them that satisfaction. By staying composed and treating their tactics as solvable challenges, Sigma females not only neutralize the manipulator's influence but also expose their weaknesses for all to see. The beauty of this strategy lies in its efficiency. Sigma females don't waste time in drawn-out conflicts or dramatic confrontations. They quietly, methodically dismantle the toxicity, leaving the perpetrator powerless and unable to regain control. It's not just about winning, it's about ensuring the game ends on their terms. Number 8. Using their independence to starve manipulators. Manipulators thrive on dependency. They weave their control by making others rely on them emotionally, financially, or socially. But Sigma females, by their very nature, are entirely self-sufficient. And this independence is their greatest shield against toxic people. They don't need anyone to validate their worth, fix their problems, or give them direction, making it impossible for manipulators to find a foothold in their lives. For a Sigma female, independence isn't just a lifestyle, it's a strategy. She's her own source of strength, and she takes pride in handling challenges on her own. Manipulators, on the other hand, rely on creating false narratives of help or support to lure others into a web of dependency. But when they try this with a Sigma female, they're met with a polite but firm refusal. She doesn't fall for offers of guidance or attempts to play savior because she doesn't need saving. This self-sufficiency starves manipulators of the control they crave. Without the ability to exploit weaknesses or foster reliance, their tactics fall flat. A Sigma female doesn't seek approval or lean on others for decision-making. Her life is built on her own terms, with her goals, dreams, and actions driven by internal motivation, not external influence. What makes this so powerful is how effortlessly it puts manipulators in check. They can't handle someone who operates outside their web of control. A Sigma female's independence not only protects her, but also exposes the manipulator's weakness, their inability to control someone who doesn't need them. By simply existing as her authentic, self-reliant self, the Sigma female sends a clear message: there's no room for manipulation here. She sets the terms, holds the power, and ensures that anyone who tries to control her is left frustrated and powerless. Number 9. Exposing weakness with surgical precision. Sigma females possess a remarkable ability to expose the insecurities of toxic individuals with surgical precision. Instead of attacking or confronting directly, they observe the manipulator's behavior and quickly identify the vulnerabilities hidden beneath the surface. These vulnerabilities might be anything from an inflated ego, deep-seated fear of being seen as inadequate, or a need for constant validation. Once the Sigma female pinpoints these weaknesses, she doesn't need to lash out. She simply reflects them in a way that makes the toxic person painfully aware of their own flaws, flipping the power dynamic in a way that leaves the manipulator disoriented and powerless. Rather than using harsh words or obvious insults, Sigma females drop subtle hints or carefully timed comments that expose cracks in the manipulator's armor. It could be a remark that makes them second-guess their own superiority, or an observation that highlights the emotional vulnerability they've been trying so desperately to hide. This isn't about being cruel, it's about revealing the truth in a way that's so subtle the toxic person can't immediately defend against it. The more the manipulator tries to cover up or justify their insecurities, the more they fall into a trap of self-doubt and frustration. The power in this tactic is in the control it gives the Sigma female over the situation. By drawing attention to the weaknesses of a toxic person without ever raising her voice, she neutralizes their ability to manipulate. The manipulator is left off balance, unsure of how to regain control, while the Sigma female remains calm and collected. It's a quiet, subtle destruction of their false sense of power, and it doesn't take a single raised eyebrow to make it happen. Number 10. Thriving in chaos instead of fearing it. Toxic people thrive on chaos. They use confusion, conflict, and emotional turmoil as weapons to destabilize others. But for Sigma females, chaos is like a stage where they get to perform their most powerful act: adaptability. While toxic individuals desperately try to stir the pot, Sigma females remain unshaken, finding clarity in the very disorder others fear. They don't crumble under pressure or retreat into fear. They dive into the chaos with a calm and calculated focus that leaves their toxic counterparts floundering. What makes this approach so powerful is the Sigma female's ability to remain centered while everyone around her is losing their grip. In situations where others panic, lash out, or try to control the situation, she simply adapts, finding the angles and opportunities that others miss. Toxic people who rely on unpredictability and emotional chaos to manipulate others can't cope with someone who not only survives in chaos, but thrives in it. They expect their target to become overwhelmed or to act irrationally. But the Sigma female does the opposite. She maintains her clarity and composure, using the turmoil as a tool to showcase her resilience. This ability to remain steady while everyone else falters doesn't just make Sigma females mentally strong, it makes them a force to be reckoned with. Toxic individuals can't manipulate or control someone who sees through their tactics and remains unfazed by their attempts to stir up trouble. The chaos becomes less of a threat and more of an opportunity to shine. Sigma females don't just survive in a world of disorder, they use it to prove that their mindset and adaptability are unbreakable, making them virtually untouchable to toxic forces. In the end, the strength of a Sigma female lies not just in her ability to withstand the chaos that toxic individuals create, but in her refusal to let it define her. She doesn't engage in their games or succumb to their tactics. She simply rises above them with an unshakable sense of self, using everything they throw at her as a stepping stone to greater autonomy and power. While toxic people thrive on manipulation, drama, and control, Sigma females flip the script, turning these very attempts into opportunities to demonstrate their independence, intelligence, and resilience. The beauty of the Sigma female is that she doesn't need to be loud, confrontational, or dominant. She wins by playing her own game in her own way, on her own terms. She doesn't just survive the toxicity, she makes it irrelevant. In her presence, manipulators find themselves exposed, disarmed, and rendered powerless. The truth is, the more they try to pull her down, the higher she rises. And that is her greatest power, the ability to thrive, to remain untouchable, and to outshine the very people who thought they could control her. In a world full of toxicity, she is the quiet storm that changes the rules, the unwavering force that can't be broken, and the silent victory that leaves all others in awe. If you've been inspired by the power and brilliance of the Sigma female, then it's time to take your journey to the next level. Don't miss out on more transformative insights and strategies that can change the way you navigate life's challenges. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of empowered individuals who refuse to be controlled by toxic influences. Stay tuned for more content that will equip you with the tools to thrive, grow, and rise above every obstacle. This is just the beginning. Let's unlock your full potential together. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye and stay blessed.